Hello and welcome to Dee's Media World. Today we're on episode 9 of our Inuyasha review series, Enter Shippo plus the amazing Thunder Brothers. So now we're finally actually getting some new group members to the team, even though that hasn't been established yet in this first episode. But we do meet Shippo and we find out, long story short, that he just lost his father, I guess I don't know how recently, maybe that day, the day before. But anyway, his parents have been killed, or his father has been killed by the Thunder Brothers. So he's trying to avenge their death. Essentially, Shippo. The funny thing about watching Shippo come into the show is that he's kind of like the cute kid, but he has a smart mouth, and he has probably the smartest mouth just coming into the show. Like, he doesn't develop that smart mouth. He starts right off the bat. He basically comes in, attacks Inuyasha and Kagome, who are just trying to eat a meal, and then he talking smack to Inuyasha later on about him being a half demon and not able to do anything. And then even is rude to Kagome, which is funny because if you keep watching the show, you know Shippo loves Kagome, so it's funny to see him being so dang rude and so rude. So the episode kind of begins with Kagome and Inuyasha just sitting down eating in a graveyard, and this is Inuyasha's, I guess, first time eating noodles, which is kind of a silly joke, I guess, in the show, is that he loves ramen noodles and instant noodles and stuff. And and then Kagome, somehow that conversation leads to talking about space travel, and Kagome talking about like how their world has basically advanced in her time versus the feudal era. You know, it's cute. And Myoga asks some questions, which is funny. So Myoga's still around. This is what the fifth episode in a row he's been in. That's pretty cool. Kagome and Inuyasha get attacked by Shippo, as I said earlier, and he's trying to get the jewel shard. Now, am I the only one who was wondering, watching this episode, how did he know they had jewel shards? Is it because I guess the thing that kind of they don't talk about a lot in the show, but is gossip. Like, later on, Heaton says, oh, I've heard of Inuyasha, he's a half demon or whatever. So I'm wondering if that's how maybe Shippo knew they had jewel shards, because he heard of, I guess, Inuyasha and Kagome. I don't know. There's no indication because he can't sense jewel shards on him. So, and he found them really quickly. He goes in her bag. He does some cute little, they call them fox tricks or something. He does that are kind of pitiful, but they're cute little techniques or little ways of him to sort of protect himself and stuff. So, Kagome and Yasha, when they ask, like, what's going on with, like, why are you trying to steal the jewel shards or whatever, we find out that Shippo's father had been killed, and he wants to avenge their death, and he thinks he can do so with the jewel shards. I actually would have loved to see what would have happened if he did use the jewel shards. Like, I don't know if Shippo would have actually been intimidating at that point, but we never really see it. But it would have been interesting if he was able to use them, and what maybe he could do, because he already has, like, fox magic or whatever, but fox magic, that's what it's called. If he already has fox magic, so I guess we'll never know. Kagome and Inuyasha fight, and about, I don't even know what they weren't even really fighting over anything. Like, they're not really concerned with the Shippo. Like, when they ask him why are you after the jewel shard, they actually start fighting, and it's funny. It's typical Inuyasha Kagome fighting at the sorta in the beginning. Let's see. Shippo eventually does steal the jewel shards and leaves. He puts a spell on Inuyasha. I don't know. Basically, puts like this heavy rock on Inuyasha's hands, and then puts a scroll over it that makes it so that he can't move or he can't get up. And then he goes and steals the jewel shards, and then he slaps Kagome. He's like, I normally don't like doing tricks on women, but. And then, I don't know what he was trying to do, but he, like, hits the side of her head. And I guess it didn't work, because I'm like, what were you trying to do with that exactly? But that was funny. And then Kagome goes after him, and, without Inuyasha, because he's stuck, and she goes after him, and, he runs into Moten, which is the demon, the brother who's a demon, but looks like an actual demon. And we learn a little bit about the Thunder Brothers in this little recap. Is that they're brutal. They are brothers. They don't really look like brothers, though. The Heaton is the one who looks more human, but he's more ruthless. Ironically, he's the more ruthless one. And Molten's the one that, I don't know what type of demon he's supposed to be honest. I can't even think of what animal that's supposed to be. Maybe he's not supposed to be an animal because in the show, demons are usually some type of animal-like creature. Like, I mean, sometimes they're like demons that aren't actual animals, but I think he was supposed to be kind of just a strange-looking guy. I think. I don't know if he's supposed to. I don't know. But anyway, but they basically have Heaton has like thunder power. They both have thunder powers in different ways. Heaton has Heaton's the one with the long braided hair, which they'll talk about more in the next episode. His hair and all that. He's the one who has like the staff with the thunder on it. And then Molten's the one who can do thunder through his mouth. So he actually is made of thunder, if you want to think of it that way. Which is pretty interesting. You don't really see, it actually reminds me a little bit of Avatar, but you don't really see in this show characters who use the elements or use like weather or something as a weapon. So that's kind of cool. Kagome gets kidnapped. She actually shoots Molten right through the snout kind of area, and I forgot she did that because Kagome has no fear because when Shippo's about to get killed, he runs into Molten and drops the jewel shards and he's about to get killed or whatever from Molten. Kagome, she does not back down. That's probably her best trait, is that Kagome is not afraid. Like, she'll stand up for whoever. Even when she is almost going to die or is threatened to die, she's not scared. She's pissed. Like, later on when she's at Molten's place or whatever, and Heaton's is threatening her, like, oh, if you're lying about your relationship with Inuyasha, we'll kill you. And she's kind of like, she's more pissed off than angry. She's like, oh, he'll really do this, won't he? He would really kill me, wouldn't he? Not, oh my god, he might kill me. Which is hilarious. There are very few times when Kagome is legitimately scared. But in any case, she does get kidnapped. When she gets kidnapped because because she shoots Molten twice, that made him lose a hair follicle, basically, like not even like a small strand of hair, and they get knocked out. It was actually, Shippo says it was the same move that killed his father, and I was like, his father must have been like right there because they should have been killed too, for that matter. But they didn't get killed, obviously. Kagome faints or passes out, and she gets kidnapped, and they go back to the place, and Molten's actually going to make her into a hair potion or hair formula. And I'm like, what kind of hair potion, what kind of hair formula would work if you put a human girl in it? Like, what? But he's not even going to eat her. He's going to make her a hair potion. And Kagome, when she wakes up, she's like, man, I'd rather be eaten alive than be made into hair potion. I have to agree, at least if you get eaten alive, you could be some use. Like, you obviously are wanted to be eaten, but to make for something as insignificant as hair potion, that's hilarious. In the meanwhile, Shippo's like, well, I guess I gotta go find Inuyasha. He's the only one who can save me, or save Kagome and stuff. So he goes, he tells Inuyasha, like, oh, if you promise not to beat me up, I'll let you free. And of course, Inuyasha's like, okay, I promise. And then he beats the crap out of him. He hits him like 6 or 7 times in a row, which is hilarious. And Shippo tells him, that Kagome was kidnapped. And Inuyasha, this is obviously when Inuyasha and Kagome are kind of friends, but they're clearly not like a couple or anything, but Inuyasha's kind of like he's not even that interested in saving Kagome, but he's like, okay, I'll do it. And they got jewel shards and all that. They're like, he'll see the advantages of it. Inuyasha too is fearless because, even though he's heard of the Thunder Brothers, he's not particularly scared of them or what they can do. And he's like, well, I guess I can save Kagome. We'll see what else happens.